My brothers and sisters, may the Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John. Jesus revealed himself again to his disciples at the Sea of Tiberias. He revealed himself in this way. Together were Simon Peter, Thomas called Didymus, Nathanael from Cana in Galilee, Zebedee's sons, and 2 others of his disciples. Simon Peter said to them, "I'm going fishing." They said to him, "We also will come with you." So they went out and got into the boat, but that night they caught nothing. When it was already dawn, Jesus was standing on the shore, but the disciples did not realize that it was Jesus. Jesus said to them, "Children, have you caught anything to eat?" They answered him, "No." So he said to them, "Cast the net over the right side of the boat, and you will find something." So they cast it and were not able to pull it in because of the number of fish. So the disciple whom Jesus loved said to Peter, "It's the Lord." When Simon Peter heard that it was the Lord, he tucked in his garment, for he was lightly clad, and jumped into the sea. The other disciples came in the boat, for they were not far from shore, only about 100 yards, dragging the net with the fish. When they climbed out on shore, they saw a charcoal fire with fish on it and bread. Jesus said to them, "Bring some of the fish you just caught." So Simon Peter went over and dragged the net ashore, full of 153 large fish. Even though there were so many, the net was not torn. Jesus said to them, "Come, have breakfast." And none of the disciples dared to ask him, "Who are you?" because they realized it was the Lord. Jesus came over and took the bread and gave it to them, and in like manner the fish. This was now the 3rd time Jesus was revealed to his disciples after being raised from the dead. The Gospel of the Lord. This 3rd appearance of Jesus following the resurrection is filled with lots of details in John's account. In some ways, very strange details. You remember that Jesus, when he first called the disciples to follow them, said that they must come to him and they would become fishers of men. And so here they'd had this teaching of his. All of a sudden they recognize that he's alive again, and yet they still go back to their old ways. They go back to the old fishing again. And so Jesus is on the shore calling up to them, saying, "Come on in, have some breakfast. I will feed you." And of course, that's the other message over and over again, that Jesus is the one who gives us the bread of life. He's the one who feeds us constantly. But besides that, some of these other images in this particular account are sort of striking. Peter's in clothing, and so rather than taking the clothing off, he tucks it all in and jumps into the water. We're told they're only 100 feet away from the shore. And then they actually caught 153 large fish. What a strange detail to give. You know, of course, John is trying to set the tone that what is happening here and what specifically the disciples themselves had experienced. Jesus continues to feed them, and we find shortly after this, the accounts that we've been hearing from the Acts of the Apostles begin to take fruit. They no longer are fishermen, they are now fishers of men. And they end up becoming the great proponents of the gospel message and end up preaching it from shore to shore as a result of this giving of the Spirit into their lives. Today then, as we hear this story, we're reminded again in a fresh way of how God continues to nourish and feed us. Every day when we gather at this table, we receive that nourishment through the scriptures that we hear and through the bread that we take. And it is that gift that the Lord gives us over and over again to keep us close to himself.